Hello everyone, I'm Shauna Lofi, and Lori asked me to put together a tutorial to show how to create a multi-image photo grid in one document file so you can upload to IBWS. And what I have right now opened is Photoshop CS6, but you can do this in any Photoshop program, and I have Adobe Bridge open to see the images that I want to drag and drop into Photoshop to use for the grid. I'm going to start off by creating a new document. Go to File to New, and I want to create an 8.5 by 11 horizontal image to drag and drop all our photos on. I'm going to set it at 11 width, 8.5 by 11. I'm sorry, 8.5 in the height, and I'm going to keep the resolution at 300 for now to create this in Photoshop. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to hit Command minus to zoom out just a little bit and go into Bridge. I have them open side by side with each other, so all I did was open up both programs, and all I did was moved Bridge over to the corner. So I just dragged this over so that now I can see both of these opened at the same time. I'm going to scroll through my images, and I'm going to click, select a couple of horizontals and possibly 4 verticals so you can have 6 images on this one document. So I'm going to click and drag over my first horizontal image, and I'm going to hit, oh, actually I don't want to use that one. Let's go back. I'm going to click this one. A little bit more diversity in this one. Hit return, enter a return on your keyboard to set that image, and scroll through, try to find another horizontal. I like that one. Click and drag it over. Hit return or enter. And I'm going to reduce the size of these 2 images, and I'm holding down my Shift key to select both layers on the layers palette. I'm going to edit, transform to scale, and I'm just going to bring these in a little bit. I like that one right here. Hit return, get layer 2, and drag that over here to this corner. And I'm just using the arrow keys on the keyboard to make sure that that image is butted over to the edge, bottom right hand corner. You can also use the align tools at this point. I'm going to shift click to select this layer for this image. I'm going to actually label these image 1 horizontal and image 2 horizontal. Okay, so I can always find where those are. And horizontal image 1, shift click with the background, and I'm going to use my align tools, align to the left and align to the bottom, and it is completely aligned to the white background layer. I'm going to do the same thing with the top horizontal image. I'm just going to click and move that layer above the background, hold down my shift key, and this time I'm going to align top and left. And I have a good amount of space between those 2 images right there. I like it. It's just enough. And if you want to make that space a little bit smaller, just take one of those images. I'm going to use the top one for now, or sorry, the bottom image, and butt it up just a little bit more so that that space is a little less. And now when you drag in the rest of your images, we're going to scale them down to have about the same amount of space as this one as well. I'm going to go and find my vertical images and click and drag them over, and I'm going to transform this, go to edit to transform to scale this image down, and I'm going to zoom in because I want to have it even with the bottom of the top horizontal image. You can see, if you zoom in enough, you can see these little pixels here so that you can get it perfectly aligned, and hit return, zoom out, Command 0. Zoom back out just a little bit, and now those images are the height of this image equals the height of this image. So I'm just going to use my arrow keys to nudge that over a little bit. I'm holding down my shift key to make it a little bit faster. Okay, and just eyeing the distance, and it looks about the same as this. No, just a little bit less. And I'm going to go find another vertical image. Down here, and I like this one. Click and drag it over, and go to Edit, Transform to Scale. Clicking or Shift, holding down the Shift key and moving my mouse to a corner and dragging in. Using that shift key constrains the proportions. If I didn't hold the shift key down, I could end up doing this and my image becomes distorted. If I hold down the shift key, it constrains those proportions and it allows me to reduce the size of that image without distorting it. And I'm zooming in again to see all those little pixels. Zooming in even more and holding down the shift key, dragging up. So now it is aligned with that bottom image. Hit return, zoom out, Command 0. Holding down the shift key and clicking the left arrow on my keyboard to bump that over. And again, I'm just eyeing that. And I think I want to crop a little bit of her head off on that one, the hair, so I'm actually going to bump this up a little bit and increase the size ever so slightly. And if I bring down my, drag down a guide from the ruler, if you don't have your rulers open, on the keyboard shortcut it's Command R to make them disappear, Command R to make them reappear. I'm going to drag a ruler down, a guide from the rulers, so that I can align this image with this horizontal don't place. Right there. And I'm going to go zoom back out again. And I'm going to go to Edit, Transform to Scale, and bring the image back up just a little bit right there. And hit Return. Bump it over just a little bit. And you can set your guides before you do that so that you know exactly where you want to have that image cropped off. And I'm going to use the marquee tool, and you can either select everything where that guide is, just move that up so it's right on there, and I can either delete it away, whoops, using the selection tool, delete that. Oh, it's not a smart object. Okay. I'm going to create, right now it's sitting as a smart object. I need to rasterize an image. So I'm going over to the layers palette and I'm right clicking this layer to rasterize the layer. Okay, now it's not a smart object anymore. It turns it into a smart object when I clicked and dragged it over from Bridge. But I rasterized it so I can either delete it right here because I know I'm not going to use anywhere the image again, or I'm going to hit Command Z to bring it back. With that same marquee tool, I'm selecting just this right here, and if I use my layer mask, I can hide it. So I go to Layer, Layer Mask to Hide Selection. It's now, the image is still there. Right now it's just invisible right here. So I can move this image up or down within that layer mask. If I unlink it, select the image box, not the layer mask, using my move tool, I can actually move it down, and everything above it is invisible and everything below it is still visible. But I want it back to the way I had it. I'm going to leave it that way. And I'm going to drag in a new image. Oh, I'm going to link that back again so that when I move it, it moves the layer mask and the image simultaneously. If I don't have that selected, it moves everything but the layer mask. I'm linking it back again, and I'm going to go to zoom out a little bit. Command minus on my keyboard, and I'm going to find another, 2 more vertical images to put in here. Let's see, I like this one. I'm going to bring that over here. It's created a smart object still, but I'm going to go to Edit, Transform to Scale, and drag it up here. I can create another guide. Zooming back out just a little bit, and upping that image up to that guide. And it turns red when you're on the guide, so you know you're hit the right spot. And I think I want to actually crop part of her head on this one as well, so I'm going to hold down my shift key and crop a little bit of the top of her head there, hit return to set that image, and I'm going to move that over here for now. And just eye the distance there, and once I've set the the sixth image, I'm going to take all these images and using the scaling tool, drag it down to bring it into the to bring it all back into the image of the white background. So let's find another vertical. Let's see. Maybe I want a full image this time, and I'm going to scale down to that guide. And it hit red. Let me zoom in so you can see this. just dragging it down to that guide. And I'm going to use my trackpad to go scroll that down, and I want to scale it to the exact height of the other one. Hit return to set it. Command 0 to zoom back out, and I'm moving this over. Again, I'm just going to eye the distance, using my arrow key on my keyboard to bring that in to the left a little bit, nudging it up. Good. I'm going to zoom back out just a little bit so we can see what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to select, let's find those on these bottom. I'm moving that layer so that I have all my bottom images together. Let's see. And I'm just turning the eye, this little eye icon off. It sounds weird. The eye icon off indicates whether the layer is visible or not, just to make sure that I am selecting the right images here. All right. So now I have all those on the top layer, those 3 layers together, my bottom 3 layers together. I'm going to hold down my Shift key to select these 3 layers. I can hold down Shift and click each layer, or I can select one, Shift, and click the bottom layer, and it selects all 3. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform to Scale, and I'm going to drag in the bottom layer, the bottom left corner, and I'm going to bring it in. I just want to line it up with the edge of this white background. Hit return to set. I'm going to do the same thing with the top 3 layers. Edit, transform to scale. And I'm actually going to line these up from the bottom because I want to keep that crop on her head right there. And again, I'm going to line it up with the edge of the white background. Good. I'm going to hide or delete these, clear these guides because I don't need them anymore. I'm going to go to View to clear guides, and then it disappeared. And I'm going to get these bottom 3 layers. I'm going to zoom in a little bit using my Move tool and the arrow on my keyboard and my Shift key, and I'm going to bring it back up. And I'm just eyeing the distance here. They look about even. Zoom back out, and now I have 6 images on this document. And now I need to finish cropping it. I'm going to go to the Crop tool. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to save my work because I don't want to have to do this over again. So I'm going to go to File to Save and save this into my folder. I'm going to call it Collage 1 or Collage 2. I have another one already opened in here, so I'm going to call this Collage 2 and save it as a Photoshop format so it can save my layers, and I can go back and change this if I want to. Hit Save, hit OK. Alright, now we can do the crop. I'm going to click on the Crop tool in my Tools palette, and you'll see that the tool already shows up in your document. Right now it's going to select the entire area of your document, which is 8.5 by 11. We just take in these little, there's these little outlines in the corners and in the center of each side. I'm going to take in its center and drag it up. Zoom in, holding my Command and spacebar. I'm on a Mac, by the way, so that's why I keep saying Command. If you are on a PC, I don't know the keyboard shortcut, so you would just have to select this. Sorry, cancel that. You would just have to select this little magnifying tool, and it's at the bottom. It's called a zoom tool. It's at the bottom of your tools palette, right above the swatches. So I'm just going to drag this up and zoom in so I can see all the pixels, and right at the edge of that bottom pixel, and zoom back out, Command 0. I'm going to zoom into the top left corner, find my pixels, and move the crop corner up there, Command 0 to zoom back out. And I'm going to do the same thing with each corner to make sure that I am cropping exactly where I want to. Good. Zoom back out. I actually want to align it with the crop with this horizontal image so that everything else gets cropped off. So I'm just going to make sure that it's lined up with that. Zoom back out. I know this is already aligned. I'm going to hit return. And it takes a few seconds. Alright, zoom back out, and now everything is completely cropped where you want it. And I'm going to hit save again. And now I want to add my watermarks. Let me just eye this one more time. This kind of looks, some of these are not quite spaced right. So let's go and fix that. And I'm going to find this image. And I'm going to align those 3 to the bottom. So I've selected all of those images. Align to the bottom, good, and I might have to go and recrop. And I'm actually going to butt them down just a little bit with my arrow. And I see that the center image doesn't have the same amount of space, so I'm using my left arrow key on that image. Good. And I could probably bring these in just ever so slightly, select that middle one. And with my arrow key, I'm butting it over one space. Same thing with that bottom left. Put that over probably 2 spaces. Good. And just going back and recrop the same way we did. Zooming in on that top. I'm actually going to line it with this one. Make sure everything's good. And align it with this with the corner. Good. Zooming in. Fix that crop. Zoom back out. Command 0. Everything looks about right again. And hit return. And go back to my move tool. And I can see it's not quite enough at the bottom. I'm just going to bring that up just a little bit. Hit return. And hit save again, saving that Photoshop file. Okay, so now I want to put in my watermark into these images. I'm going to open up my logo, and I have it saved from Illustrator as an EPS file. Go to File to Open, locate my logo. Let's see, logos. And opening up the warm gray version 11. I'm going to open up at 300 dpi because our image grid is at 300 dpi at the moment. And I'm going to take this tab and move it over. Doing the same thing we did with the photographs, click and drag it over. And I see it's a little big. It created a new layer for that. Go to Edit, Transform to Scale, and I'm going to reduce this a little bit. And then I'm going to set my logo right there. And close this file. I can click on this little red dot, or I can hit Command W, and I'll close that window. So I don't want it to save it. Alright, so now I want to create, let's save that again. I want to create text copyrights to put on the rest of them. I only need one logo. I don't want to muddy it up with a bunch of little versions of my logo all over it. So I'm just going to use the type tool, select, click on any of the images, and it's going to create a new layer. I'm going to hit Option G to get the copyright, and holding down my Shift key to create all caps. Shauna, can't spell my own name, Shauna Luffy Portraits.com. And that is at 8-point type. I like that. If you want to make it a little bit bigger, just go over your character palette and just change the size. This is what 10 points, 14 points. I like it at 8. It's just readable enough, just small enough that it's not too distracting, but enough that it protects my image. So I'm just going to move it where I think it is most appropriate and can be visible. And with my Option keys, clicking on my Option key, I see 2 arrows that appear, a black arrow and a white arrow. That's going to make a copy of this layer, and it's going to automatically create a new layer over here. So I'm going to click and drag it over another image, and just kind of eye the center of it, and it created a new layer. You don't have to retype it. Click and drag it over to the next one, click and drag it over to the next one, and click and drag it over to the next one. You can even go so far as to align this layer with this particular layer. I'll show you how to do that. Just have to find it, drag it over to that top of that photo layer. Select both those layers and align center, and it'll align the text with the image. I don't really care so much whether or not it's exactly aligned to me. I'm just kind of eyeing it, and it looks about right. So if you want to go through all that, just take every text copyright and put it above the layer for the photograph. Select both images. Make sure that's the right one. Oops. And that goes to this one. Select both images and align center. If it moves the image over and instead of lining the text with the image, all you have to do is butt it over with the arrows. Okay? Just to make sure you have the white space even again. Now once we have all our copyrights on and our watermark, let's save that Photoshop file again, and we're going to go to Layer to Flatten, and we're going to go to File to Save As, and I'm going to say this is a JPEG. So now we're saving a flattened version of that Photoshop file into a JPEG format. So it's making a second file of this, a copy if you will. Go to Save, click OK. And now it's still too big to upload to Facebook, so now I'm going to go to Image, Image Size, and I'm going to reduce this to 96 dpi or 73 dpi, whichever you prefer. 96 will drop that image down to 1055 by 731 pixels. It's just large enough to be able to see it on Facebook, and all your images are nice and clear. And go in File to save again. Or you can do a Save As and save a smaller version of the JPEG and a larger version of your JPEG. I'm just going to hit Save. Save over that first JPEG. And now you are ready to upload to IBWS.